Good morning. My name is Chelsea, and today I'd like to present to you my mobile implementation learning plan. It's a guide for the district to hopefully incorporate mobile learning into the classroom. And we've got 7 steps. The first step is investigating. In order to have mobile implementation in our district, first of all, it's got convenience, flexibility, engagement, and interactivity for all the students. And those are all key factors that make mobile learning more attractive for students. It generally increases productivity and grades and several other attributes. Within investigating, the first thing I'd like to look at is the opportunities of mobile learning. There are several opportunities, a great number of them. Some key ideas here. First of all, it gives students limitless access to information and resources, both in and out of the classroom. Students will be more organized with their notes and assignments all in one place on their Drive cloud-based system. Students love technology. So using mobile devices will help engage the students and create such an enthusiasm and excitement about their learning. They're already on those devices all of the time, so allowing them to use them for more instructional purposes will only attribute to their educational goals. A more personalized learning for each student when they have their own devices, differentiation comes into a high, you're able to do it more when you do that. Students' personal mobile devices tend to be more cutting edge, so the school can more easily stay up to date. Can't say how many times I've looked at a student's phone and I'm like, man, they have a nicer phone than I do. So that's always an option for the district. It's more cost effective that way. It's low cost effective because it will save the money when students have their own devices. And when students use their own devices, they take care of their own training. They already know how to use these devices. So that part of how do we use this is already taken care of and accounted for in the district implementation process. Next, we have some challenges. Of course, every new implementation will always have challenges. First of all, not all students have a mobile device. And in some cases, if they do have it, it's not accessible to the internet or resources that may be required. Students may forget to charge their devices or even maybe bring them. In some households, students are not allowed to bring any type of technology to school because of possible thefts. That leads me to the next one there. And also an increase in cheating. Students are very smart. They always know how to get around things, it seems. Another option would be, or another challenge, overloading wireless networks. When you have so many people getting on their devices, of course the wireless network will overload, so those are going to have to be fixed, of course. Increase in possible distractions during class. As we know, technology is a hindrance in some instances because we can get on YouTube, we can do so many other things, but if we educate the students how to use them properly, we can take care of that. Virus intrusion, it's always another option. If they're at home, they get a virus and they end up bringing it to school. So that's another warning we need to put out there. Resistance from educators. Some educators are stuck in their ways. They refuse to move with the progression of time. So that could be another challenge. And finally, some devices can access different applications than others. If you're in, especially an elementary setting, some devices may have the applications needed to do multiplication tables or things like that, where some devices won't. Next, we're going to look at the main drivers, like what drives us to do this. As a district, I'd like to say students are already familiar and comfortable using their own technology, so they can actually focus on learning with them and learning how to more appropriately and efficiently use those devices. That should be our main driver. And also, when students use their own devices, they are more likely to continue learning outside of school hours. If they are working on this really cool activity and they're like, man, I can do this at home now, first of all, it keeps students from getting in trouble outside of school. It also helps increase the learning outside of school. Changes in learning environment. I listed 4 key changes, and I'm just going to go over in general. The first one, technology. First of all, it's technology. It can perform several key functions. It can increase opportunities for teaching and learning. Also, the skills for adult life, including technological literacy. We're in a 21st century learning environment. Students need to know how to use these technology to provide skills for adult life. Next, it's an integral part of accessing the higher order competencies. In order to analyze and evaluate, we need to be able to have resources to do that. And innovative technologies not only have the potential to evolve your practice, but transform an entire learning environment. If you have a vision and you have a management plan for change, the results can be just ideal in the classroom. So that's the goal here for the changes. And next, why should we implement this mobile learning initiative? If it's used correctly, it will help prepare the students for their future careers, which will include the use of wireless technology. Also, integrating technology into the classroom is definitely a great way to reach the diversity in learning styles. As I said earlier, diversification becomes key when you can do this. It gives students the chance to interact with other classmates more, encourage collaboration. You know, everybody can be on Google Drive and Doc at the same time, working together. As our nation becomes increasingly more dependent on technology, it's necessary for these students to be able to be successful citizens, so they must be tech savvy. And lastly, students can have access to digital textbooks. They're constantly being updated, and that's much more of a cheap, cost-effective way than having a heavy textbook all the time. Now, as far as required technology, I'd like to see integrative demonstration boards so that people can come up to the board, students can come up to the board, we can all integrate and demonstrate things together. Higher bandwidth to help with network issues. Pens that record audio while writing. A lot of times when you get to college, you know, you'll record your professor and take notes later, things like that. Allowing mobile devices in the use in classrooms as a district policy. Now we have classrooms sometimes use, classrooms don't, up to the teacher, up to the school, and there's no consistency across the district or even across the school. Chromebooks and cloud-based systems, we've already got Google, so the cloud-based system is pretty much in set. And then desktops that are free of wires, being able to move them around and adjust them as needed in classroom management. And skills that teachers will need. Digital technology skills and how to effectively use them. We need to have several professional development opportunities for educators, some required, some maybe not, to add other levels, but they need to know how to use this technology and how to effectively use it in the classroom. There needs to be an increase in classroom management and organization. You can't just come in and have a student hop onto their device and go at it. There needs to be some kind of organization and classroom management with that. Also keeping students on tasks and so forth. The last part, facilitation and diversification. When you add technology into the classroom, you're becoming more of a facilitator instead of, you have kind of a swap. A teacher-student swap, and that is to help with the diversification of instruction. So teachers need to be able to have that mindset and be able to implement it to the classroom successfully. Next, we have scoping. The stakeholders for this pilot will be students. They're the main goal and to help here. There will be 75 staff members across various schools. There are 52 schools in the district, so I'd like to see at least 1 to maybe 2 per school and across different grades in the school district. Participants will stay the same over time. We want consistency. We don't want to move around and have different resources. We want the same people so we can track the progression over the course of the year. Across the district, there's a set tone for technology, and with that, some minimal professional development. I can see that, and hopefully with that and the year under the belt, I think that we'll be able to have successful completion over the course of the year. Now, in order to implement this, there's some set goals. First of all, evaluation of current technology. Where are we at? The student, as a district, as each school, where are we sitting with technology? How do we use it? Evaluate mobile learning across the district. So currently, what do we have? Who do we have using the mobile learning? How do we need to change what they're doing? How do we need to get those who aren't doing it on board? We just need it's a big district, so it's going to be a very big evaluation process. We need to collaborate with teachers and students to test the mobile learning. So we've got to see, first of all, which 75 staff members, classrooms, and what students are we angling for? Who will it benefit the most? How will we incorporate it? Things like that. Then we need to create a plan to support the structure that we've come up with, and survey to evaluate mobile learning experiences. So, like I said up at the top, what is the frequency of the mobile learning experience? What does it consist of? So forth. And then decide the next phase. Are we going to go ahead and implement it? Or are we not going to implement it? And if we definitely, I'd like to see it implemented, but how can we change? Maybe there's some structural differences that we need to focus on. Had a lot of new buildings in the district, so obviously they're going to be different to look at than older buildings in regards to technology and adding it and what we have available. The third step is the planning step. So first of all, I'd like to see the bring your own device, and that'll help offset costs. And we already have Google, so that'll be our cloud-based drive. Every student has a login, but I would like to see requirement added that students must log in to the network using that, so that way there's accountability for student actions. You can also look into updating network systems so that it can allow for more traffic. Lastly, Microsoft actually with Office and Outlook, there's a free version if you have Hotmail. I did not know this until I was looking into it. So for students who use Microsoft at school, they can actually get it at home on their mobile devices by using their Hotmail accounts. Some possible policies that need developed. I am a strong believer in less web filters. Right now, I can't even send my students a link to a video because it's blocked by the system. I understand the importance of that. However, if we have the opportunity to teach our students how to use these resources effectively, they can learn their own responsibility and therefore increase reliability and effectiveness of the technology. Next, positive communication using social media in and out of the classroom. If we teach this and we organize it, it's just unlimited resources for educators. And I would also like to see copies of the acceptable use policy distributed. I know probably about 85 to 95% of the students and staff have never even read the acceptable use policy at our district. Next, how would I go about implementing this program? First of all, you need to prepare the staff. There may or may not be a lot of mixed emotions about this movement. A lot of educators see cell phones and they instantly just detention or kicked out of class, and there's a negative connotation with it. So preparing the staff is going to be ideal, or the ideal first step. And then over the summer, having them go through the professional development of the benefits and the mindsets of where we're coming from, and getting them ready to, first of all, take in the new change, and then also how to use it appropriately in the classroom, how to help guide their lessons and educate the children and get their classroom structure organized, and all of this to benefit the ideas and implementations of what we're going for. And then the next step would be forewarn the students and distribute the AEP the week 1 of the school year. That way they know, everything's changing. We're going to learn positive use of our mobile devices. We're going to start incorporating them. That way they're prepared for it. And then within the following 2 to 3 weeks of the school year, I'd like to see the 75 classrooms become equipped with the Chromebooks and the necessary equipment to pilot this change. All of these policies will obviously have flexibility with what we're doing. I just wanted to kind of get a brief framework in. We're going to move on into part 2 here. in a minute, which is going to be the implementation process. So stay tuned.